Hello, ninth grade. This is Mr. Wolens, checking in to see how everybody's doing, and also drop a little bit of a sort of an informal video about what we've been talking about, which is a majority of World War II. Now, we've been talking about the world leading up to it, Hitler and the Blitzkrieg, his pact with Stalin and how he overturns it, and then getting towards the United States getting involved in the war. As part of that, especially in the early stages of the war, so during the 1930s, the presidency of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, which is a sort of a second cousin on his mother's side to Theodore Roosevelt, the guy who, when we discussed about the Russians and the Japanese fighting in the age of imperialism and industry, he was the guy that just signed the document that said, "Hey guys, don't keep fighting anymore. So just stop fighting." And excuse me, the United States during the point in time, especially when Europe and the rest of the world is gearing up and preparing for World War II, is going through a bit of a depression. And when Roosevelt comes into office, he tries to implement some programs and actions that are considered the New Deal programs that give people jobs, have more security for things like banks and the citizens. Programs like Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid are put forth. And one of the things that he did, which was kind of new for a president at the time, is that he used the technology around him, so radio, and did these things called fireside chats, which were basically things that he did every night during a point in time during the Great Depression. And he would live read speeches, he would ad-lib stories, he would just try to check in and reassure to the American people that not only are his programs working, but it's also a sense of comfort to know that he's trying to make the personal connection with the people, because he doesn't see, much like every president, they don't see every single American citizen on a daily basis. With these fireside chats, Roosevelt found a way to reassure and reconnect with the people that are around him, especially if there were any critics or anybody that thought that these programs weren't going to take off, which they did. And while Roosevelt didn't completely end the Great Depression, he made it easier to live in because of, again, he gave people jobs and tried to offer different securities and safety nets for different people. So I'm going to do something like that for you guys today, but it's not going to be me trying to come up with some really elegant speech or read a dialogue from a movie or a script with characters. I am instead going to read to you guys from this guy. This is the Odd Ones Out book, aka How to Be Cool and Other Things I Definitely Learned from Growing Up. So these are, in case if you're unaware, this guy's named on YouTube the Odd Ones Out. He does a lot of animated stories. He's kind of like the kingpin of people that are on YouTube that do animated stories. So you don't have to write anything, you don't have to take anything down. What I want you to do is, when you see this video, comment on it. Give me some. You don't have to give me feedback. You just put your name in and tell me what you thought of the story, because this one, I thought this one was pretty funny. This is freshman year, aka accidentally dating my sister, in parentheses, not clickbait. Starting ninth grade is probably the worst decision I've ever made. Okay, I didn't actually have that much of a choice in the matter. The educational system made me go to high school, but if I could go back in time and change anything about my life, it would be my entire ninth grade career. High school is such a weird time to be a person. Luckily, I wasn't that social in high school, which left me plenty of time to draw comics. I went to very few parties, and the ones I did go to, we played Magic the Gathering or watched Disney movies. So yeah, those parties were pretty crazy. High school is nothing like it is in the movies. No one sings, there's no catchy dance numbers, and in Arizona, no one even has lockers. Schools don't trust kids to have lockers. Nope, too much responsibility. Lockers only lead to trouble. But I didn't go to a public school in ninth grade. I went to a preparatory school that made us wear uniforms, wake up early, and use lockers responsibly. Now, don't go thinking that attending preparatory school turned me into some preppy smart person. Maybe the opposite happened. The school was so small that everyone in the same grade knew each other. For the ninth graders, we were 4 possible sections to be placed in, and everyone in your section had classes together. We didn't switch around like the working class public school. None of that mixing, mingling, and making new friends for us. We had to look at the same faces all day long, all year. When my twin sister Faith and I went to the school with our mom to pick up our schedules, we weren't expecting to be together for every single class, including French, which wasn't a language I didn't even want to learn. It turns out our mom requested that we be in the same section, but apparently she didn't think we could handle being in high school on our own, which is strange because Faith and I had only been in the same classes together up until the second grade. After that, we split up and would only ever see each other on weekends, like kids in a divorced family who were picked up with different parents. So we were pretty used to not having classes together. Initially, neither of us was happy about being in a section together. Mom said she could talk to the administration and request that we be split up, and asked which one of us wanted to switch schedules. Here's the thing, though. Neither of us wanted to be the one to switch. We were too socially anxious and awkward to go through the bother. So in some ways, it was a good thing we had each other. Well played, Mom. Yeah. Anyway, that's how we ended up in the same section. After the shock of having my sister in every single class wore off, I found that there were some advantages to having a more responsible twin in class with me. She could help me with my homework. She remembered what the lessons were, and she helped me take tests. And by helped, I mean I copied off of her answers. So since Faith and I didn't know anyone, we sat next to each other in all of our classes. As the school year went on, we got to know more people and made new friends. It was a long year of waking up early, writing pages of essays, and having to deal with lockers, but soon it was all going to be over. Then one day, it was about the second to last week of school and classes had just ended. Faith and I were walking back to our lockers. While we went down the hallway, I thought of this random joke. Keep in mind, we were both 14, so we were still kind of weird. Puberty and stuff, that's what it actually says. So I turned to my sister and said, Faith, it would be funny if you bumped into someone and then say, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bump into you. Let me apologize with my sympathy rub. And it's literally, this is the picture he drew afterwards. And then I proceed to rub my sister's arm slowly and gently because that's what a sympathy rub is. I mean, it's not my best work, but I still thought it was funny. The joke was that a sympathy rub is weird. I don't think I'd ever try it out on anyone to see how effective it was as a form of apology, especially since it ended up getting me in a whole lot of trouble. But who knows? Maybe it could comfort somebody someday. And it might be in this trying time. Just air rub. Just air rub hello. Unfortunately, there was a teacher walking by who didn't appreciate my humor. This wouldn't be the first or the last time. She was a middle school teacher, so we'd seen her around before, but we'd never talked to her. She stopped and asked us, hey, do you know the school's policy on public displays of affection? My sister responded with, yep, and started to walk away. The teacher said, oh, I'm not done. This is where things get awkward. The lady then began to give us a lecture about why we had to keep our feelings for each other outside of school. She said stuff like, I know you're both young and in love, but your hormones are all out of whack, and now is not the time to be going steady with somebody. Apparently, this teacher had seen us sit next to each other in classes, walk with each other in the hallway, and work on homework together in the lobby, and naturally assumed that we were madly in love. Keep in mind, this is his sister, and she doesn't know. Faith and I looked at each other, both thinking, do we tell her? Do we tell her? Looking back, we probably should have stopped her somewhere in the middle of her speech about why we shouldn't be going steady. But we didn't want to make the teacher feel awkward or anything. We both had social anxiety, remember? So we just kept our mouths shut and nodded. And I remember while this was happening, my friend Anthony walked by, and knowing we were brother and sister, he was extremely confused why we were being told not to show our feelings for each other in school. After the teacher was done talking and had left, I thought the experience was hilarious and wanted to tell everyone in the whole school. But Faith was mortified and wanted to keep it quiet. So down the hall, Anthony was waiting for us, and he asked if we'd gotten called out for PDA. I told him my sympathy rub joke, and Faith made him swear to never tell anyone. And this would probably be the end of the story, except the next day, while our geometry teacher was going over another section, the teacher that called us out came in and asked the geometry teacher, hey, do you know the blonde, curly-haired girl with the boyfriend that looks just like her? I'm sorry, but saying that sentence probably should have triggered some sort of red flag. You mean Faith and James? My geometry teacher asked. Yes, said the middle school teacher. I saw them holding hands, which we weren't, by the way. I was giving her the sympathy rub. So keep in mind, wasn't this, it was this. Not this, this. But the entire class burst out laughing anyway. So much for Faith wanting to keep the whole thing a secret. The geometry teacher broke the news. They're twins. So the middle school teacher ended up feeling awkward anyway. I still thought the whole thing was hysterical, and Faith was glad there were only 2 more weeks of school left. The lesson here is if you think speaking up to correct someone might make them feel awkward, you should probably speak up and make them feel awkward anyway. Because if you don't, the whole thing might just become more awkward for everyone. Also, my studies are inconclusive. Sympathy rubs might not be the best form of apology. And that ends one of the many stories in the Odd Ones Out's first book, How to Be Cool and Other Things I Definitely Learned from Growing Up. Well, that's going to do it for me, guys. Excuse me. Again, if you want to comment on this video, let me know that you guys watched it. Let me guys know what you think about these types of fireside chats and if and when I should be able to do more, or if I can do more of them, if you want to for these coming weeks, because I'm not 100% sure when we're going to go back. There's always rumors and talk about like, hey, it's going to be just for a while, and then we're going to come back after spring break. And now there's these rumors and reports going around that all Ohio State schools should close for the rest of the year, or at least wouldn't be surprised if they were closed for the rest of the year. And I don't want that. I miss you guys. I miss being in that classroom. There's a lot of uncertainty in this trying time, but know that my phone is always open. My email is always available, so if you would like to contact me through there or send me a message in Google, like if you pull up a doc and you want to share it with me with some responses or with some concerns that you have. And then I'm always active on Class Dojo too as well, so if you would like to contact me through there or have your parents contact me with any questions, I can definitely answer them as they come out. Just know that for the time being, stay safe, stay healthy, keep your heads up, keep a positive outlook, and I will see you guys hopefully very, very soon.